Well, hello and welcome back to the Grey Wolf RV YouTube channel. And if you are new here because you are researching the Winnebago Micro Mini or Micro Mini FLX products, you have found your home, because this channel is dedicated to off-grid, off-road camping, and right now we are using the Winnebago Micro Mini FLX. And in today's episode it's going to be another deep dive episode. The deep dive series is dedicated as an informational series to help you in your purchasing decision, or if you are an owner, to learn more about the trailer that you have, because let's face it, there's not really a lot of information out there from Winnebago on how to actually, use and operate this trailer. It's kind of given to you with all these, amazing but complex systems, and it's my goal to try to help you better understand the product. So, if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times, I'm not an RV expert, but I do aspire to be an expert at this particular product. So today's episode is all about the water system. Now, whether that's freshwater or gray water or black water, or all the water systems. And we're actually going to start right here. So much to my demise, Winnebago does use a gravity fill for your freshwater system. Now, interestingly enough, I actually just saw and commented on a video by, I think it was RV Tips and Tricks, RV Tips and Travels. He did an interesting video where he was talking about features that RV manufacturers are taking away and how he wished that that wasn't the case. And to him, perhaps maybe reflective of his use case scenario, he was lamenting the loss of the gravity fill. Now, the reason that it's a downside for the gravity fill is because you're going to be standing here with a jug, filling it up if you are in any off-grid, off-road environment, because you maybe have brought auxiliary water with you, because the freshwater tank is only 35 gallons in this trailer. It's not a lot, but I've done some investigative work and there is more space down below, but that has a knock-on effect, and we're not going to get into that in this video. Nevertheless, it would be my strong preference that Winnebago moves to the Nautilus system, for the sole reason that the Nautilus system can use your water pump to actually siphon. So rather than standing here with a jug, you could actually just have, fill up the jug, or essentially do what my mom does even when she's camping in a campground. She's got her little wagon, she brings her freshwater tote with her, fills it up at the pump, brings it over, because we are in Canada, and well, I don't think I've ever seen on-site water and sewer hookups at any park, whether that is national, provincial, or even private, quite frankly. Not that we have a lot of private camping experience, but you're most definitely not finding water hookups in the backcountry. So if that's where you're taking this trailer, equipped with the off-road Wrangler tires, then yeah, having the ability to siphon out of a bucket, because that means theoretically you could actually throw a hose over the side of the bridge and suck up water straight from a running glacial stream. I mean, how amazing would that be, right? The reason that channel was saying that this is an advantage is because sometimes you will pull up to parks or water fill stations where the hose is seized on there and it doesn't have a threaded connection, because inherently that Nautilus system does require that. There's an adapter that he does identify in that video. From my perspective, I think when you're off-grid camping, and even when you're in a park, a Nautilus system where you can siphon from a tank or a stream or whatever your imagination comes up with, I think that's much more useful than standing here, especially if you are, maybe you have a physical limitation, or perhaps you're just like my mom and you're old. Sorry, Mom, love you. But whatever the case is that, yeah, I really just don't like seeing this freshwater fill, but this is where it is. Let's move on. Next to it, we have a spray port. Now, I have never used this, and this is not a ploy to get you to comment down below so it will boost the YouTube algorithm and show my video. And right now it's not even monetized, so I'm not making any money off of any of this. But suffice it to say, this is a freshwater port that, like the stairs behind me, I honestly wasn't sure when I first got this trailer how I was going to feel about it long term, and I still don't know how I feel about it long term, because like I said, I haven't used it once. There is a propane takeoff, so if you are the kind of person that wants to bring a full second outdoor kitchen, then knock your socks off. But the kitchen inside is great. And what I have instead bought, that there will be a future video on, when it comes to any parts, accessories, I really want to use them. I don't want to like open it out of the box and then do a review on it without any experience. I just don't think that's valuable to you, and I don't want it to be the kind of work that I produce. Nevertheless, I bought a standalone fire pit with an optional cook surface, so that not only gives you the ability to do some cooking outside, but it doesn't necessitate like a full kitchen. And so with it just being a cold water, honestly, I really only see this being useful for like rinsing off your dishes. But do you really want to be doing that, you know, especially if you have like a nice mat around here? You know, now you're talking about a dirty bin or maybe a clean, like a multiple bin situation. And the FLX and Micro Mini products, as great as they are, especially when you get the FLX, not exactly known for its interior storage space. I'm pretty maxed out and I really don't have anything beyond the cooktop accessory and 2 camp chairs and a very tiny 10 liter, or what is that, like 3.5 gallon water, not even, 2.5, whatever, small water tote. So yeah, I really don't think, given the limitation of the trailer, that you're gonna be bringing, you know, fold up tables and a full outdoor kitchen. Again, you do you, but is it really worth having something that can risk freezing on the outside? That's the question that I have. I think if you're gonna do it, I'd rather see it, you know, behind a 1-inch thick door for cold weather protection and have a hot and cold. But again, you know, you're right in the middle of what is under the awning your living space. There is another option though that we'll go explore now around the other side of the trailer. All right, so you join me on what is the rear driver side of the trailer for more water related items. Behind this door, which we'll get to in a moment, is going to be your Truma AquaGo Comfort Plus water heater. Behind here is your shower. This is your black tank flush. So if you have the option to connect a like city hose or something with a GHT 3/4 inch, so garden hose thread, then you can put water into your black tank through these like jet nozzles, and it's designed to help clean it out. In all of my research, I think the more effective solution to black water cleaning is to partially fill it up, drive around, or as you're driving, and it will really liquefy and stir up everything in there, and then just go ahead and drain it, and then use this as like a above and beyond secondary cleaning system. Don't use this as a primary means by which to empty out your black tank. But don't take my word for it, because I actually haven't used it because of really a lack of hookups in the off-grid off-road environment, but also the shower system that Winnebago has chosen. Before we get to that though, this is your city water connection. So if you happen to find yourself somewhere, I guess presumably in the United States, or maybe you're mooch docking or whatever, then you will just hook up your garden hose to here. It will bypass the freshwater tank and it will pressurize your trailer. Again, I've only spent 2 nights in an actual campground with electric hookups. It most certainly didn't have any water hookups. So needless to say, I haven't used this either. But in my own research, it was highly recommended that you use, if you're going to use the city water, use a pressure regulator so that you don't blow your pipes, or if there are any PEX clamps that aren't using the correct fitting that I'm not aware of, you don't want to overpressurize that and then create a leak on yourself. Having a look underneath, this is going to be our black and gray tank drain. I actually just did a deep dive series where I quite literally crawled underneath, and I actually had to make an amendment in editing, but this tube up here, this much smaller one, this is your gray tank. Even the gray tank is actually located further forward than the black tank, which is good because the gray tank is much more likely to fill to 100% capacity on a trip than the black tank. That would be a lot of black tank usage. It crosses over and then actually merges down here. Important to note, up here, Winnebago has kindly included the valve assemblies for the actual, they're like these little slider doors, basically. They're in the underbelly. Now, this is an FLX model, meaning it's not heated. So yeah, I'm not gonna get on that rant. I've done that enough. Nevertheless, it is good because it will keep it from building up with like snow and ice and dirt and debris and all that junk, like just general road grime. So you're not gonna have to worry about from like a long-term reliability and serviceability perspective, so kudos. At the same time, you'll see here that if you are driving through any snow, ice, or let's say rain and sub-zero temperatures. So maybe just going over like the Coquihalla Pass in, I don't know, August, which is a very real possibility of encountering freezing conditions. All of that snow and grime and, you know, ice and whatnot can and will accumulate up here on these tank valves. So be forewarned that if you are using the trailer in those freezing conditions, that while the actual lines may work despite not being heated, the actual levers themselves may actually freeze up. So I've intentionally not opened this shower door for a reason, and that reason is a complaint. On the Winnebago Micro Mini and Micro Mini FLX products, you get a gray Bauer key. Now this is going to open your storage compartments with those nice slam latch, or slam latches, I guess that's better English. And it will also open your RV door. They are key-to-like in that sense. However, because Winnebago is using this shower, you know, enclosure back here, it uses its own proprietary lock, which is this one here. And just from a user experience perspective, honestly, I hate having multiple keys to operate my same trailer. Not to mention, this is very much not the most high quality lock or door apparatus. As I struggle to open it here, you can kind of get that idea. So back in here, we have our shower. Well, there are a few downsides. First and foremost, this doesn't turn to the best of my knowledge. So if you pull on it, there is the very real risk of breaking what appears to be just plastic. Second, it does not have a quick connect that you saw on the other side of the trailer. So there's this blue coiled hose that has this nice handle, lockable, whatever. But because they've chosen to use this style instead of the two handle with the quick connect back here, you have a separate style hose that is much less quality. Let's look at the biggest missed opportunity for Winnebago's marketing team, and that is the Truma AquaGo Comfort Plus. This is a 2024 model. You will get the Comfort Plus in the 24 and 25 and presumably moving forward. But in 23 and prior, they were only using the Truma AquaGo Comfort. And while that Plus may seem trivial, it's huge in terms of the usability of this trailer. But for now, let's just focus on this and I'll explain why that is the case in a minute. In here, it is a tankless hot water system. You can see that I have installed the exhaust plug from the antifreeze kit. And as per Truma winterization processes, you can see this is that heated element. So they recommend that you leave it out during the winter. And I guess that's just in case there's, you know, any ice buildup, or actually I really don't know. But Truma, I'm sure, could answer that question for you. But yeah, you leave this open, which I don't love, because if you are moving it or driving it anywhere, then, you know, there is the risk of dirt getting in there, but I guess you could just always purge that out after the fact. This is your master power on, power off switch back here. Don't ask me what any of this means or does, but I will say when it comes to getting the antifreeze kit, I recommend it for all times of the year, predominantly for this particular plug, especially when you're driving down dirt roads. I did a whole video on that. It was like Truma AquaGo antifreeze kit for the summer, question mark kind of thing. But yeah, you get this, and then if you are trying to use the trailer in freezing conditions and you've solved the underbelly heating, lack of heating issue on the FLX, then I highly recommend getting the antifreeze kit here. So yeah, it's cool and windy, so I'm gonna pop this panel back on and let's go inside. Whew. All right, we are inside and we're gonna go straight down here. All right, so I show you this cabinet for a couple of reasons, not the least of which, just to give you a visual idea. So this is your sink drain for the kitchen sink, but under here is an access panel, or this is an access panel, and under said access panel is where you're going to find your water pump. That's important if you are planning on doing any self-winterization. It's super easy to access. There's just a few Phillips or Robinson or whatever screws around here. The panel, you do kind of have to sort of, you know, bow it a little bit to get it to clear around these door latches, but it does easily remove. And then there is a toggle switch by which, if you're doing said winterization, and you have your jug of antifreeze here, you don't want that water pump trying to siphon from your fresh water tank. You want it to siphon the antifreeze. And so there is already about 18 inches of hose in there. I'll be honest, I would like a few more inches on said hose because I did find it to be just a wee bit awkward, and I ended up holding the jug to kind of get the last little bit out. But yes, it is all located down here. God forbid you ever had any issue with your water pump. This is where it is. I'm going to talk about this pipe here in a future video coming up, which I don't think, because the days are so short, don't think I'm going to get time to do, but there is something that I would change about this system down here. All right, let's move on. All right, so we are now in the washroom, and I've set you up in this particular spot for a reason, because I want to point out that there is the shower drain here. There is this access panel so that if you do need to get underneath said drain, that you can get to it. But I want to point out, because you have two exterior walls back here and a floor that has no under duct heating, there is the potential for freezing there. As well, the hot and cold water lines for the fridge, or the fridge, what am I saying, for the kitchen run along the exterior walls underneath this little trim panel here and into these two cupboards where you have your water heater in the back. And once more, you'll notice there is no cold air venting, and so this can and will potentially harbor the ability of cold air to freeze those lines. Let's go ahead and pull off one of these panels and I'll show you what's behind it. Yep, cool. Also, shout out to our friends over at Canadian Tire. This is their house brand, or the better version of their house brand, the Mastercraft Maximum. They have this cool ratchet screwdriver, and I'll be honest, I love when you find a tool that just, you know, works super well for its application, and in my opinion, that is this. So, you got all the bits that you could ever want or need when you're working on a RV. And with the ratchet function, you know, especially if it's like a tighter area, whoops, not doing a very good job of selling it, am I? But yeah, you can do that, or you can lock it in its fixed position for a traditional screwdriver. All right, here we go. So panel off. I hope that you can see this. Nevertheless, down here, you are going to see your water heater on the left. I'm not going to pull off this panel because all you're going to see is a big silver tin. This clear line, this is going to be your bypass line around your water heater. So once more, when you're doing winterization, the Truma instructions say not, repeat, not to put antifreeze into your water heater. So you want to bypass it. There are a couple of different styles. There's like I think they call it like a 2 valve and a 3 valve or something like that. But basically, all you're doing is you're allowing the water to circulate, what would be cold water, to circulate around or bypass said water heater, and you're isolating that off. Then you can flush your antifreeze through, because if you don't, you will end up putting antifreeze on the ground if you forget to do the bypass. And ask me how I know. Nevertheless, you're going to see a bunch of hot lines here. So one of these lines is going to be for your hot water heater. Then you're going to have your cold, and then your other circulating back hot water out and return. I can explain more about what that means in just a second. I'm going to use the shower as a segue, but just be aware that you have 1, 2, and 3 right here, low point drains. Actually, I forgot to mention that on the outside when we were talking about the underbelly tanks, but you will see the 3, the 2 red and the 1 blue. So I'm going to put this panel back on, jump in the shower, and then we will talk about what all of this means. Ah, gosh, love this little thing. If you're ever looking for an excuse to come to Canada and our beautiful scenery is not enough for you, then come for a screwdriver. Anyways, we're in the shower for a reason, because, true story, when I took delivery of this trailer, I actually called the factory and was like, hey, don't know how to break this to you, but you forgot to put the shower miser system in here. And what the shower miser is it was and still exists on other competitor products, it's basically a circulation system. So what you would do with a shower miser system is you would turn on your hot water heater, and then you would come into the shower and you would open your hot water tap at the fixture, but you would have the valve set to recirculate. And what it would do is while you're waiting for all of that hot water, or I should say cold water, to purge through the hot water line, it's recirculating back into your freshwater tank. And once the hot water has come through, it had a thermosensitive plastic to it, so it would actually change color. And you could see that as your visual cue to be like, okay, cool, we now have hot water. And then you would redirect that valve so that now the hot water is flowing up and out of your fixture. So while that's a good system, a great system is what Winnebago has gone to, which is the AquaGo Comfort Plus. And that plus indicates that from every fixture in the trailer, whether that is your shower, your washroom sink, or your kitchen sink, or even that exterior shower that we were looking at outside on the campsite. So 4 fixtures, there is a full return tract for that hot water back into the hot water heater. So how that would work is you would turn on your water heater. The water heater itself, the Truma AquaGo Comfort Plus, has a built-in pump that is separate from your main water pump, and that is going to circulate up to every fixture and then back to itself. And when it's going back to itself and it's getting hot water, then it no longer needs to run at 100% capacity, so it's going to throttle itself down for energy efficiency because amazing, right? So from a practicality perspective, you don't need to look for the color change and stand here while you're doing it. You can quite literally just turn on your hot water heater, and this is what I do. If I'm finishing dinner at the end of the day or whatever, I'll come in, I'll go to my beloved, tongue-in-cheek there, Truma CP control panel, turn on the hot water, and by the time I'm, ready to jump in the shower, I already have hot water right here at the fixturing. I haven't had to do anything else. And I come in here, I flick the lever, and the only water we're going to lose to the gray tank is the water that is in this conduit, and you would have lost that with the shower miser system anyways. But again, we're having the benefit of that being able to happen at every fixture. So when I'm done eating dinner, boop, turn on the, that's a technical sound, turn on the hot water heater, and by the time I'm ready to start doing the dishes, I already have hot water at that fixture. So there's a huge, essentially you're increasing, because you'd have to have a hot feed and a cold feed, and now you're adding the hot return. So you're increasing the amount of plumbing by 33% at, from what I can tell, no cost to the customer. And Winnebago's not, they're not telling you this. And they should be shouting it from the rooftops because, again, from a usability perspective, from water conservation, from not having to, make like a simple operation, multiple steps, just come in here and use it. You know what I mean? It's like how I feel about the fridge not having a little separate little, handle or whatever. Just use it, right? No differently than you would have to in a residential situation. Just, it makes sense. It's a huge benefit. And yeah, it's basically, aside from if you're digging through the specifications and you see the comfort plus, and then you jump over to the Truma website and you do a bunch of digging and you ask a bunch of questions and you spend way more time on YouTube trying to figure it out as I did. Yeah, amazing. They should be putting this front and center in their marketing because it's that good. Let's go back outside. So hopefully this has given you a bit of a tour on how the water system functions and operates and where the key components are and how you might go about accessing them in the future as, need be. If you have any questions whatsoever about the water system, then be sure to let me know in the comments down below. I'd still genuinely like to hear your vote on keep or ditch the cold weather only campsite spray port, which again, I can only see being used for dishes. And if you feel as passionately as I do about wanting a Nautilus system, because that would incorporate having that nice quick connect style spray port, then please let me know in the comments down below, because I'm a huge believer in customer feedback. Whether the companies are receptive to that is a completely different story, but suffice it to say, if you are interested in this product, or you have this product, or you have another product and you have opinions about it, please let me know, because at the end of the day, here's my bias. I want companies to make the best product available. And sometimes that takes a bit of encouragement from the market to say, hey, we'd rather spend, $50, $100 more at the consumer side of things because we're going to get a much better system. If I have to take a bit of flack from the manufacturers, then so be it. But I hope to kind of be that conduit between the people out here that are using the products and the manufacturers that are building it. So that's my spiel. After this video, I'm going to be publishing the ultimate one-year review, where I basically go through this entire trailer top to bottom. It's called Ultimate for a reason because it's like 50 minutes long, but it's going to talk about all my thoughts on all of the different systems as they were designed. I'm going to then do a video coming out after that that is going to talk about how I kind of wish it was designed differently. If there's something about this trailer that you want a specific deep dive about, please let me know, and I will 100% look into doing that for you. In the meanwhile, thanks very much for watching. I always sincerely do appreciate it. You take care, and bye for now.